What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Part 4 DC Legends new player guide. Hopefully everybody is enjoying playing the game. If you are new to this series, this is a video series where I started a fresh account and going through all tutorials and guides and game modes and trying to give all of my tips, hints, tricks, all of that stuff to get you through the beginning of your DC Legends journey. If you're looking for anything else or any particular, I guess, part of DC Legends, check the video description or look in the playlist. I will have a whole bunch of other guides for DC Legends. But yeah, today in this video, we have part 4. We are on day 4 of starting a brand new, fresh account. And I think it's about time we talk about status effects, buffs, debuffs. Get a little bit more in depth into each of the heroes and talk about some resources that you can use for DC Legends for all those people who still don't know exactly what the gear does, what the buffs do, what the debuffs do, how you can tell what they are, where they are, which hero applies what to who, and all of that stuff. It's certainly a lot, and so we're going to go over that today. So first thing is going to be the character's affinity. That is just basically what color they are. Are they green, are they blue, or are they red? And those little symbols in the bottom right of the character icon, that's going to tell you what affinity type each of the character is. Green ones are energy, blue is mystical, red is physical. And there are filters in which if you wanted to search for a particular affinity, you can certainly do that. Right now we can just search for all physical based characters, then pops up all red. So all of these options are in the search bar. And along with affinity, each of the character is either two types of damage. They are either physical based damage or they are special damage. Now there's really no icon that shows which one of those there are, and there's no filter to determine whether or not you can find special or physical. But the easiest way to tell whether or not a character is physical or special, in the abilities it's gonna list damage. If it says only damage to an enemy, Siren's first ability says damage to an enemy, apply 2 bleeds to the target. Since it only says damage, it is a physical based character. And then the ones that are special damage characters in the ability, it is going to say special damage characters, or special damage. And so Killer Frost, her first ability says special damage to an enemy as opposed to just regular damage. So if it says special damage, it's a special based character or a special damage based character. If it only says damage, then it is a physical based damage character. Now you really need to be accustomed to which characters are special and which characters are physical, because a lot of buffs and debuffs have to do specifically with the damage type that each character does. So for example, we have Power Girl here, which is a physical based character. It says damage to an enemy, gain 1 strength up. Well, strength is only associated with physical based characters. You can't put strength on a special damage character. So if you have tunes that apply strength up to the entire team, for example, that's really not going to help your special damage based characters. And same thing with special damage. Special damage, the power of special damage is influenced by intelligence. And so if you have a character or a tune that applies intelligence to the entire team, it's not going to do anything for Power Girl as far as her damage goes. Now it will affect defense, but it only affects defense in the way if a special damage character attacks Supergirl when she has intelligence up, then that's going to impact the special damage that gets affected onto Supergirl or Power Girl. Gosh, I keep saying Supergirl. But either way, strength is only associated with physical based damage, and then intelligence is only associated with special damage characters. Each character can also apply either buffs or debuffs. Not all characters and not all abilities, whether they be attacking abilities or passive abilities, they don't always always apply buffs or debuffs or status effects to the opposing team, and they don't also apply them to your own. But some of them do. So for example, Sinestro, it says his special damage and apply 1 affinity resistance down to an enemy. Well, it doesn't describe what affinity resistance down even means or how that actually affects the person you hit or the hero that you hit. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to show you what they are and what these things mean, where you can find them, etc. Because there are a lot of status effects that you can apply. There's also other things like apply enrage to immunity or apply a rage to an enemy. So once we get Sinestro's 3rd ability unlocked, when we use that, we apply Enrage. And so what does Enrage do? Well, it doesn't say. So, you know, we're going to go and I'm going to show you what that is as well. We're going to talk about those passive abilities as well. Apply Overheal. What is Overheal? Stun. I think that's probably a little bit more self-explanatory when you talk about that. And then another one, apply All Allies. All Allies have a 40% chance to gain 2 intelligent ups when an enemy gets enraged. So this is one of the examples how it can get a little bit confusing, but why you need to know this. So for example, if Sinestro's in here, we have this ability unlocked, this passive ability. Let's say it applies all allies intelligence up. So every single ally, all 4 of our allies, or all 3 of them, including Sinestro, all 4 allies is going to have 2 intelligent ups. Well, when it's Power Girl's turn, she is a strength-based character, but if she has intelligence up, when she attacks, intelligence is going to affect special damage. And so when she attacks, it's not going to give her a boost to her damage because she is a physical based. But if a special damage character or a special damage enemy, a hero on the enemy team, if they are a special damage character and that special damage character attacks Power Girl, even though she's not a special damage character and she has intelligence up, she's going to, the intelligence affects defense for special damage as well, and so it's going to affect her that way. Hopefully that made a little sense. It can get messy when you talk about status effects and buffs and debuffs and which ones work and how they work, and it is a lot to learn. So hopefully you don't get overwhelmed, and that's kind of why I didn't want to introduce it until at least episode 4. I thought about maybe waiting for a couple more episodes, but I think now is about the time we talk about it. Now hopefully you saw in previous videos about how, like, during the battle the debuffs are going to be red, the buffs are going to be green. And if you hold your finger down on any particular character, it's going to tell you which buffs and debuffs each character has. And now you could go into the character and figure out what each ability does, what debuffs or buffs they actually apply to the enemy or to your allies, and hopefully that's going to help. And as we're getting into looking at what each of them do, you at least know where to find them and what they actually do in the match. Another part of the character which I don't think the game really does a good job of explaining is the different stats that can be applied to the character by upgrading them and upgrading the gear and stuff. So when you click on a piece of gear, you can see that it has S damage, CRT val, AR, and that putting in a piece of gear is going to increase those values. And each one of these is going to do something different. And as you level them up, there are 11 total levels when it comes to gear, 6 pieces per level. So as you're putting in this gear, it's increasing these stats of the character. Now, if we go under the power section right there, it does explain some of them, but not all of them. We have strength right there. We have agility. So it does give a brief description on what each of those are, the ones that are listed here. Intelligence. Intelligence affects special damage defense, and heal power as well. We have speed, we have crit chance, all of that stuff, but it doesn't list every single one of them. And so what do the other values actually mean, and what do the other abbreviations actually mean? And going to the WB DC Legends website, it does explain what each of those are, and this option is in the settings. If you go over to the settings in DC Legends the game and go down to facts under support, there is a little tab that takes you to your browser in which you can find it by that way. But yeah, these are the ones that are listed, and these are the ones that have gear. When we put in gear in the game, what stats are actually affected, and these are the stats that are on the actual character. So we have strength has the abbreviation for it, the STR. The one that we had where it was P damage and S damage, that's actually physical damage and special damage. We have INT for intelligence. We have STA for stamina. And it does give, I guess, a brief description of what it actually does. So while you're putting in this gear and upgrading these pieces, now you know, like when you see the stats go up, when it says the AR. When it said like +1, I can't remember exactly what the number it was, but when it said AR, you know that that's affinity resistance. Reduces damage taken against targets that you have an affinity disadvantage against your character. So for example, we were looking at Green Lantern when we were doing that. He is a green character, so that would be like if a blue character, a mystical character, was attacking him, and if he has high AR, affinity resistance, then that's going to help him with as much damage as he is going to reduce the damage that he takes from that affinity, since they have the advantage and we have a disadvantage. But that is the list. I would definitely recommend, I don't know, pausing it and just reading each one of those, just so you can get accustomed to what they actually mean, what the abbreviations actually mean when you put in the gear and those stats increase for each of your characters as you're upgrading them. And then, like we talked about earlier, the abilities are gonna put either buffs or debuffs, status effects, on your characters during the match. So on your allies, or you put it on the enemies, and there are certainly a lot of them. It tells you in the description of each character what buff or debuff is applied for that ability, but it doesn't necessarily give you a description of exactly what that means. So I came over here to Reddit. Pretty easy to find. All I would do is just Google buff and debuff. It'll take you to the Reddit DC Legends homepage, or to this website, and you can see, or you could just pause it in the middle, read each one of them as we scroll through this. But some of them are ones that we've already talked about. But then we got ones like agility. Characters that have their physical defense increasing, taking less damage from strength-based attacks. So agility up, again, agility up, this is where whether or not it's physical damage or special damage. So agility up, if you have that on your character, that's great, but that only affects strength-based attacks. If you get attacked by special damage, it's not going to affect it. It only affects strength-based. So when you start playing, like for example, PvP, and you see that the entire team is intelligence-based or special damage, having a team comp that is physical, that gives physical defense, that gives strength-based agility ups and things like that, is not going to help too much, right? And so a lot of these are have the effect of only being applied to that specific type of character. We also have awareness, which is another one that somewhat is confusing by the description, but awareness is just an immunity to a single attack, meaning you take no damage. We got crit chance, we got crit immunities, and immunities mean that you can't apply that debuff to that particular enemy. Debuff immunity, empowered strength up, enrage. Characters cannot be enraged, although I don't see enrage on here, even though the enrage is a, oh wait, it's going to be under the debuff section. Then we have evasion, we have hit chance up, intelligence, invisibility. We got mends. Mends, you would probably think heals, right? Well, how much of a heal does a mend apply? If you have 5 stacks of mends, how much is that going to heal? These little tiny specific details definitely come in handy when you're playing the game. Speed up increases the character speed by 10% per stack. So if you saw previous videos how I was using Flash, he does speed up. Now obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. It makes your character faster, speed up. But by how much? Like when you hit speed up and however many stacks you get, how do you know how fast that character is going to go? Stun immunity. We got taunt, we got true sight, and then we got down to the debuffs. These are the red icons that are above either your allies or you. We got affinity resistance down. We got bleeds. Some of these are opposite effects of buffs. Buffs, debuffs, good things, bad things. So a lot of these are going to be the complete opposite of what the other one is. We got disease here, which is one that is pretty much only a debuff type of status effect. We got doom, which is another one. Doom doesn't really have an opposite effect. After 4 turns, Doom will instantly apply 100% full HP damage to the target. So if you get applied Doom, if you don't get that status effect off of you, or kill the entire team within 4 turns, then you're dead. Evasion downs, heal, immunity, hit chance downs, intelligence downs, silence, speed downs, strength downs, stun. But there are certainly a lot of different buffs and debuffs and status effects that can be applied from each of the characters' abilities, and I would definitely recommend getting familiar with these, learning what each of these characters, what the abilities not only do, but when you're facing them, when you're facing these particular characters, what to expect when they attack you as well. It's going to impact your strategy, it's going to affect your team comps, all of those things like that. And yeah, it's definitely good to learn this stuff. I know it's a lot, and I know there's a lot of different ones, but it does take a little time to get used to and remember them. But here they all are, and like I said, feel free to pause it or just go to Google and just type in buffs, debuffs, DC, Reddit, and it'll certainly pop up. I personally don't use Reddit. I absolutely hate Reddit. But DC Legends does have a very popular and widely used Reddit page. So if you do, go on Reddit, I would definitely recommend going there and finding it and then using it. And the other different ways that a hero is also categorized, which is in the filters as well. And under each hero, it's not as obvious sometimes, especially if you're not familiar with the hero, but every single hero in the game is either going to be an earthling or an alien. Every single hero in the game is going to be either a hero or a villain. Now, those two are not necessarily as obvious. You can certainly see by looking at the icon which ones are physical, mystical, and energy. But you can't tell, on some of them you can, but you can't always tell which one's alien and earthling and which one is hero and villain. You can pretty much tell which one is male or female, but those are the other ways that every single hero is categorized. And all of these are searchable, so if we want to do a alien, female, earthling with any of the different affinities, we could just hit confirm, and apparently there are none. So let's just do alien and earthling, and so I guess they're all going to be earthlings. And it brings up all of the heroes in that you have unlocked and all the heroes that you even don't have unlocked, so you can scroll through all of them if you want to search up a particular hero. So that pretty much covers all of the status effects that you're gonna see during gameplay. And like I said, you're not always going to see all of them. Not all characters, not all heroes can apply them. You just have to start getting familiar about what the abilities do. So each ability could possibly either apply buffs or debuffs, And then when we put in the gear, every single gear piece is going to affect some sort of stat that is going to make your character's overall power increase. Hopefully all of that made sense, and now you can be a little bit more familiar with the actual gameplay and what you're looking at when you're doing these abilities and when you're putting in gear and increasing the power. And finally, I wanted to talk about what I think is probably the most important resource for all of those that play DC Legends, at least to me. I certainly use this website an absolute ton. It is a fantastic resource for experienced players, veteran players, and new players, just for the amount of information that is on this website. It is DCLToolkit.com. I will put a link in the description. Definitely get familiar with this website, because it's going to be your resource to learn about all the characters without having to physically go into the game, find them, click them, do all of that stuff. Everything is searchable. All the status effects and buffs that all their abilities do can also be searchable through here. Their affiliations, their gear, their affinities, how good the character is. Name, speed, HP, all of that stuff is searchable. It also has resources and gives you other content creators for DC Legends, which is absolutely fantastic. If you want to see other content creators, if you want to see live streams, if you want to go to those types of places, you certainly can find it all here. Just to give a brief overview, because if I was gonna go in depth in this actual website, it would take all day long, but just to give a brief overview, it has every single hero listed in the game. You can go to this hero and check the stats of the character when it is completely leveled up. We have Artemis here, which they do have the tier ranking on the left side. We're going to get to that, what that actually means. Tier meaning how good they are. Legendary order. We haven't talked about legendary orders yet. That is when you get more fragments than the actual 5 stars. So after you get a 5-star character, then you increase it to legendary stars. So then you're going to do 5 more stars of that as well. And so it keeps going. There's actually 15 total stars. But this has different abilities. So you have standard ability, and then you have a legendary power as well. And this kind of tells you the recommended order in which they think you should do that. You can follow it. You can not follow it. It's kind of up to you. Gear set. This is the type of gear that's in the game, what it actually focuses on in the game. Special damage, kind of tanky, so that's going to be what the gear kind of focuses. Not every single piece is going to be specifically for that, but it's kind of where the focus is. Then it tells about what the powers are of the character. So ability 1, special damage, gain 4 crit chance ups. What is a crit chance up? Well, that is one of the status effects that we were talking about before. Heal immunity, another one. What does that do? Well, that's part of the status effect. But it lists all of their abilities and basically what they do when they are completely maxed out. Also has combat effects. Basically gives you a rundown of what type of status effects can be put onto the heroes, either your enemies or your allies. Affiliations. That's like group. What group are they in? And so each of these characters is going to be a basic rundown. It also has rank as compared to the entire roster. So Artemis, she has 120 speed, which is 32nd highest in the entire roster. HP is 17th. Strength is really low, super low. 122. Well, that is because Artemis is a special damage character. If it is a special damage character, they're going to have low strength, high intelligence, as far as their general rankings go. If they are physical damage, then they're going to have high strength, low intelligence. Kind of the basic rule when it comes to what type of character they are. One thing to also keep in mind when you're looking at this website, it does list what they call, or what is called, you know, a tier list. I think everybody has probably seen a tier list. How good certain characters are in the game. Keep in mind that if you are a brand new player, this tier list is focused on end game PvP, not necessarily red alerts, and not campaign, not raids, not any of that stuff. It is focused on arena based PvP only. And so end game PvP, when you have max stars, when you have max abilities, when you have max rank, when you have all of that stuff. So just because a character is S tier doesn't necessarily mean that they are absolutely amazing if you have them at 1 star or 2 star. You know, it doesn't mean that they're going to outshine every other character in the game at 1 star or 2 star in campaign or in red alerts, or doesn't even mean they're usable in red alerts, because some of these characters are not that good in specific game modes. But yeah, this is geared more towards PvP and more towards endgame. So keep that in mind if you're a new player and you're getting these 1 star and 2 star characters. It doesn't mean they're worthless. Just like all the way down here in trash tier. These are the worst characters in the game, but these are the worst characters in the game for end game PvP. If you were to take it into arena, you're not gonna really want to use Atom or Deathstroke or Dr. Poison or Joker or Nightwing or Blue Beetle. It doesn't mean that these aren't usable in raids, or doesn't mean they're not usable in red alerts or campaign or anything like that. And if you have them, you are like, oh man, that sucks, I got the worst character in the game. Well, it's only going to be really the worst character in the game when you get to end game, and but it does give you a general rule to follow. It definitely gives you a general rule to follow. A lot of these characters are certainly good in multiple game modes. They're certainly good in a wide range of ranks, but specifically this website is geared more towards end game stuff. And then on the left side, we also have a way to organize or search. If you want to know what particular cases or what particular characters give awareness, well, go to buffs, click awareness, and it will then organize which of the characters give awareness. Now remember, awareness is applying a status buff to your allies, in which it basically negates one attack. So if an enemy attacks you with awareness, it does 0 damage. And so if you want to learn which characters can apply awareness either to themselves or the entire team, these are the characters that will do that. If you want to know which characters have evasion up, you know, that's like dodge. Makes it harder to hit that character. Well, all of these characters either apply evasion ups to themselves or to the entire team, which is cool. So it's a nice way for you to come up with good team comps, a nice way for you to learn what status effects can be applied by certain characters. Also, same with affiliations. If you want to know Titans, those are my favorite. I love the Titans. If you want to know which characters are in the game that are actually Titans, because some abilities, some passive abilities are affiliation specific, meaning they only apply certain buffs to affiliations. Give you a perfect example right here. We got Miss Martian, which I love. Miss Martian, at the start of every ally turn, this is her Titans Go. Go Titans Go. At the start of every ally turn, 75% chance to apply 10% shield to that ally. If the ally is a Titan, apply 15% additional shield. So if she has any of these allies on her team, she's going to be applying 25% shield to that ally instead of a regular 10%. So it's kind of cool to be able to search and organize and do all that stuff. There's so much to look at when it comes to this website. And then calendars. This is the red alerts. This tells you which characters are going to be available at the 5, which is completing 4 threats. The 12 character fragments, which is 8 threats, and then the 25, which is all 12. So today is the 4th. It's going to be Huntress, Arcus, and Harley Quinn. And it gives the entire month. It gives a breakdown of how many character fragments you need in order to, or if you were to complete them all just once for the entire month. Resources has WROL broadcasts, which does YouTube videos and stuff like that, streams and things like that. Good place to check out additional content. They are end game focused. Definitely do a lot of tier lists. All of this tier list on this website is based on what they say, which is kind of cool. They're very informative. Definitely very informative, very knowledgeable group of guys. So definitely check them out. And there are some other ones that you can also look at. There's also tons of streamers, tons of Twitch streamers. Go check these people out. M4, Joshua's, Rundown. I've watched most of these, and I can tell you, and I promise you, every single stream I have ever been in this, they are the most friendly, nice people. The people in chat and the actual streamers themselves. So definitely go check all of these guys out. They're awesome. We got YouTube channels. If you want to check out a bunch of other YouTube content, videos, all that stuff, they have links to all of them as well. So go check out any of these or all of them. You know, definitely good stuff. But yeah, that is the DCL Legends Toolkit, or the DC Legends Toolkit. Check it out. Link for that is in the description. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for episode 4. Another really long... I don't mean for these episodes to go as long as they do, but there's just so much information in this game and so many things that aren't 100% completely obvious when you're playing it. And I know that there are plenty of people that when they start the game, it is maybe a little bit too much, and there's a lot of information that isn't easily available in the game to learn and figure out. And so hopefully this helped. Hopefully this will help you familiarize yourself with not only the battles, but with the heroes themselves and which ones you like and don't like and want to go forward on with. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Episode 4. If you're looking for anything else specific, check previous episodes and future episodes. We got a ton more coming, but hopefully everybody is enjoying their time on DC Legends. I'm loving redoing this again. Certainly a lot of fun. But I will see y'all again soon for episode 5. Y'all take it easy. I am out. Peace.